We are live for another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and we don't have any UFC to talk about this week, but we do have the Road to UFC, which is the if you guys don't know what that is, it's a tournament that the UFC hosts every single year, usually bringing in fighters from the Asian region. Now we're bringing in New Zealand and Australian fighters as well. And the guys compete, or the women compete, and there's a bracket, and the finalists, they compete on a UFC card. And ultimately, the winner gets a contract to the UFC, and oftentimes the loser gets a contract too. So that's going on this week. Absolutely zero promotion from the UFC for Road to UFC, and they do this every year. I don't know why they don't promote it more. Maybe they do in the Asian markets, but here they're barely promoting it at all, and only really the hardcores know what's going on. But you guys, if you listen to me, you're probably close to a hardcore, so you know what's going on. And we're going to be breaking down all of them. Hopefully this week I'll be dropping videos for every single one. 4 of them. 2 of them are on Thursday. 2 of the events, and the other 2 events are on Friday. They're in the morning. I believe it's like 7 a.m. Eastern time, one of them, and then the other is like 10 a.m. Eastern time, something like that. But very early in the morning. So I'll be trying to put out the videos. So this is part 1. This is going out today, Tuesday. I'm hoping to put out part 2 tomorrow, Wednesday night. So it won't give you a ton of time before the fights, but give you some time. And then I'm hoping to put out part 3 and 4 also either tomorrow or on Thursday. That's the goal. Doing my best here. Not a lot of time. Got a lot going on with work and everything else, but trying to, I'm over here taping these really, really terrible quality regional fights and just trying to give you guys some breakdowns and some content during the UFC off week. But all right. Without further ado, let's pull up the fights and let's talk about them. Quick recap from last week. Did terrible. Lost 5 units. Lost every single bet I made. Terrible. Did really well the week before at UFC 315. And then it all came crashing down. Didn't quite lose all my profit from UFC 317, 315. Not even close. But still sucked to lose 5 units like that. And I'm hoping to come back. I don't know if this is the best card for it. I'm going to be very careful. I don't have any bets yet. Lines did drop today, and we'll be going over the lines as we talk about everything. But yeah, tricky cards from a betting point of view for sure. All right, let me pull it up now. Okay. There we go. Perfect. So first fight of the night, we got Xiaocan Feng versus Arisa Matsuda. Feng, she's 10-3-0, 23 years old. She's going to be 5'7" with a 66-inch reach. On the other side, Matsuda, she's 6-0 undefeated. She's 30 years old, so she's 7 years older. She's going to be 5'3", so she's 4 inches shorter. And on UFC stats, they do have her reach, I believe, at 63 inches. So she's going to be at a 3-inch reach disadvantage as well. If you guys aren't familiar with Feng, she was a finalist in last year's Road to UFC tournament for the strawweight division. And she was winning that fight against Ming Shi, the legend Ming Shi, one of my favorite active UFC fighters, even though she hasn't had a fight since. And Feng was winning that fight. It was a fight playing out on the feet. Feng was winning it. And just, keeping her range, doing her thing, striking at range. And then Ming Shi, you could see her start to set it up. She was trying to time it, and she just throws up that head kick, knocks her out. And that's how Ming Shi's parents found out that she's a UFC fighter, because they didn't know before that. So pretty cool story there. Sucks for Feng, but she's 23 years old, so she'll be back. Obviously, she's back. And this isn't a tournament bout; it's just like a showcase. But you can get an idea pretty quickly if you tape them, even if you just look at the records. Honestly, if you look at their records and you do some wiki capping, you might think that they want Matsuda, but they clearly want Feng. She's the younger fighter. She's 23 years old. She's got a crazy frame for the division. She's very big. She's very long, and she uses it pretty well. And a lot of people in the community have been super high on her since last year. Me personally, I'm not super high on her yet. I can see the ceiling. I can acknowledge the ceiling with the frame she has, with the youth, with the skills she already has. Yeah, she could be really, really good. A couple years down the line, if they build her up properly and, try to avoid stuff like what happened with Ming Shi. Yeah, they definitely have a prospect on their hands. But right now, I don't rate her super highly. That's why I bet Ming Shi. That's why I think that, she's somebody you could still fade with these really big price tags on her. I don't know that this is the spot, and I'll explain why. My leg is itchy. But yeah, pretty much the main hole that I see with Feng, outside of me thinking that she's also kind of, like, she maintains the range pretty well. But if you can time it like Ming Shi did, or if you can crash the pocket, like, her chin's pretty high, which I don't like. But my other problem with her, and another issue that I just thought of, is also low output. I feel like her output's not good enough. But the main issue, the one that I meant to say, is her takedown defense. I don't think it's good, and I don't think her ground game off of her back is very good either. We saw that in both of her fights with what was her name? Miki Matono. Both of those fights, she was struggling with the grappling. In their first fight before the road to UFC, she was getting taken down. She was losing that fight, in my opinion, before she got the submission. And then in their rematch, she won, but like Matono again was landing takedowns. This time, Feng did a better job defending the takedowns, working her way back up to the feet. But that hole in her game is why I tried to fade her with Ming Shi, and it worked, not for the reasons that I thought it would work. So not much credit to be given there. But I do think that the grappling as a whole, I think her striking is good. I think she uses that range well. She's got good power for the division. She has very good kicks. She'll target all your targets. She'll go to the body, to the head. She'll throw in leg kicks. The combinations are nice. She uses a jab pretty well. And all around a good striker with solid power, definitely for the weight class. I just don't love her output. I think her defense is questionable against higher level strikers. And I think that her grappling is also going to be kind of a problem against higher level grapplers. But Matsuda, not really much of a grappler. You go to some of her early tape and you can see, like, I saw her go for a double once and it was kind of nice, honestly. I've seen her do single legs, trips. She's not a bad grappler, but the girls she's taken down are not very good. The one I saw her shoot a double on, that was her MMA debut, and she never fought again. So, yeah, she's taking certain women down, but do I think it's going to work on Feng? Like, maybe she can get her down, but I don't see her doing much with it. I don't really see her controlling Feng. And it's really annoying if you're a shorter fighter, shorter grappler, and you're trying to take down a bigger person, a bigger grappler. It's really annoying. Like, when I used to wrestle in high school, very different level, obviously, not a professional athlete by any means. But when I wrestled back in the day, I'm not a tall person. So I hated wrestling tall guys. I hated it because when I would go for my takedowns, they would just tripod. And then I didn't know what to do half the time. So it's really annoying because they have these long limbs and they can just plant them. And then you got to figure out how to get them down from there. So it's just a lot harder than somebody, I know some people feel the opposite. They feel like it's harder to get under a short person. But for me, it was always harder to take down tall people. So I just don't really see Matsuda having a ton of grappling success in this fight. Maybe a little bit, but not much. And then on the feet, she's fine. But she's like not that, like, her main thing is the 1-2, and she's good at it, but that's about all she's throwing. Like the occasional jab, 1-2s, and then like these naked leg kicks that she doesn't really set up super well. So like she can probably make this close because, like I said, Feng to me doesn't really separate all that much. That output isn't that great. I feel like she could be a lot better if she just throws more volume. So if she's fighting with low output and not really separating, I could see Matsuda making it close, but I think Feng wins this fight the majority of the time. You run it 10 times. I think she's winning probably 8 times, if not more. So the odds are super wide, but not wide. The odds are super. She's a huge favorite. She's a minus 365 favorite. And I think that's fine. I think that makes sense. So I won't be betting it. I think she gets the job done, but I don't really see any value on her side. And I don't really want to bet on Matsuda because just from what I saw, I don't rate her super highly. Next up, we've got Wataru Yamauchi versus Namsrai Batbayar. Yamauchi, he's 7-1-0, 25 years old. He's 5'5". On the other side, Batbayar, he's 7-1-0, 24 years old, so he's 1 year younger. He's listed at 5'6". And yeah, so Yamauchi, there's no way he's 5'5". UFC stats has 5'4", and I think even that might be generous. Batbayar is not the biggest guy either, but Yamauchi is really small. This fight is really, really hard to be confident in, very hard to have a good read on because there's just not a lot of tape on certain things about each fighter. With Yamauchi, there's only 3 fights that I was able to find. It was, I don't even remember which ones it was. It was the Joe R.I. loss when he got knocked out, which is a terrible look, by the way. There was the win, and then there was 2 wins. I think this one, and then there was one win he had over, I don't remember the guy's name, but it was this dude who literally just kept pulling guard over and over and over again. So it was like the only time I was able to see him against a grappler, but the grappler didn't really shoot. They just kept pulling guard. So his leg lock defense looks good, but I don't know what his takedown defense really looks like. And his striking seems fine. In one of the fights, the first one I watched, I believe it was this one. Could be wrong, but the first fight I watched, he just threw no volume whatsoever. He was barely throwing anything. When he did, he looked decent, but because he's so small, he doesn't have much to offer at range. In the pocket, he's pretty good, some pretty fast hands. Like, he's a solid striker, does everything decently well, some solid kicks, some decent leg kicks, but it just doesn't really push the pace. The chin is definitely questionable if he's getting knocked out by Joe Arai. Just not a great look. Like, the guy's on a win streak, Arai, or he was on a win streak, but still not a good look to get knocked out by him. And that fight in general just wasn't the best look. His striking defense does not seem great, but he was more aggressive in that fight. Like, he was landing, he was throwing more volume in that one than in the first one I watched. So output seems hit or miss. Striking seems fine in the pocket once he gets it there, but at range, again, because of the reach, just really has the kicks, and the kicks are nothing special. And I don't really have much information on his takedown defense. I just know that he can defend leg locks against a guard puller. Batbayar, completely different problem. There's tape. There's plenty of tape on him. There's no tape of him striking because he doesn't really strike. And all those fights, except like one where he was fighting a guy who was even smaller than him and was clearly physically out of shape and not an athlete at all. That guy he was striking with, but like, it looked okay. But what can I even take it from? I don't even think the other guy trains based off what I was seeing. And then in all his other fights, he just dives for takedowns immediately. He'll just run at you, push you against the cage, and start dragging you down, or he'll shoot immediately. So I really don't know what the guy's striking looks like. I don't know if he has any, and I don't know what happens if he gets stuck on his feet, because he's clearly going to try to grapple. I have an inkling that he's going to be able to take down Yamauchi, who just the vibe I'm getting from him, but I don't have any information to support that because I don't know what Yamauchi's takedown defense really looks like. Think I saw him get taken down once. I don't remember off the top of my head. At this point, it's all mixing together, but it's very hard because on one end, I don't know if the guy can stuff takedowns. On the other hand, I don't know if the guy can compete in the striking. So it's pretty binary for me. If Yamauchi can keep it on the feet, I have to believe that he's going to have the advantage. If Batbayar can get his takedowns and get it to the ground, I have to think that he has the advantage. I'm going to lean towards the Batbayar side because in a close fight of a striker versus grappler, I'm almost always going to side with the striker. I just think that the grappling opens up more doors with the striking, and you don't really have that with the striker. Like, you just have your striking. If you're a grappler, you know you can shoot the takedowns, and if your opponent knows you're going to shoot the takedowns, they may not be paying attention upstairs, and then you have a few more opportunities to strike. So I'll go with Batbayar, and I also like I like the vibe of the guy. He's intense. He seems to be able to push a pace. He's a grinder. He'll chain wrestle. The control is crap, but he can chain wrestle, and he'll keep going for the takedown over and over again. So I'll go with him, but very little confidence. When I was lining it, because I didn't have lines yet, so I figured might as well make my own lines. I think I wrote like 55%, which I think is like minus 123, and he's minus 120 right now, which is about exactly where I saw it. So I don't see any value here. I'm not going to be betting on it, not at these lines. Maybe if something drastic happens, I would get involved, but very little information. Probably not a fight you should be betting on. I'll pick Batbayar, though. And decision. We'll fill these out while we're here. We'll do Feng decision, too. All right, now this fight is way more fun. We have Keiichiro Nakamura versus Yeonjun Park. Nakamura, he's going to be 5-1-0. Almost said undefeated. He's defeated one time. 26 years old. He's 5'10". Park on the other side, 9-1-1. He's 23, so he's 3 years younger. He's going to be 2 inches taller at 6 feet tall, and he's very big for the division at featherweight. And this is a good fight. Honestly, I like both of these guys. There's more information on Park, more tape, and his competition seems better. So I can see why people are hype on him. And I mean, his name is Young Boss, his nickname. I say name because if you watch his tape, all the announcers, all the commentary, everybody calls him Young Boss. So I'll go with Young Boss because I like it too. Like, he's got the aura. You can see that. He's only 23 years old, and he's already got a lot of tools. He's got the frame. He's a good striker, good combinations, clearly has power, mixes it up well. I really liked the jab that he just kept throwing out there over and over again, and then he'll follow it up. I do have a problem with his defense. His chin is way up there. He does have a tall man's defense, often comes with the height, but he doesn't tuck that chin at all. It's kind of just out there. And I've seen him hurt before against lower level competition, but overall, he's a good striker, and he can also grapple. His wrestling is good. The takedowns are nice. He times them very well. Controls a hit or miss, but he's got some decent submissions, some decent back takes. So he's just got a very well-rounded game. And out of the two of them, he's definitely the more well-rounded guy. He's the guy that we know can go a full 15 minutes because he's done it before. Nakamura's never won outside of the first round. He's only left the first round one time, and that's when he lost. I believe he got submitted, but I wasn't able to find tape on that one. I just know that that's what happened. He is kind of weird with his record because on his record, so you'll see that like he has pro fights, right? And then he has amateur fights. But he has amateur fights after he went pro. Like he went pro in like 2022, but he has amateur fights from last year, 2 or 3 of them. And in those, he went decision, and one of them he got a 3rd round finish. So he can go 9 minutes. We know that. I couldn't see the tape. I couldn't see how he looked, but at least apparently he's gone at least 9 minutes. So we know that. But overall, I don't know what his cardio is going to look like in an extended fight because I just haven't seen it. I don't really know what his takedown defense is going to look like. I think I saw him taken down a couple times. The ground game didn't look super good, but there's not a ton of information. He's fighting pretty low-level comp. So I don't really know what the grappling looks like. I don't really know what the cardio looks like, but the striking looks good. He's a southpaw, if I remember correctly. I believe Park's a southpaw too, but I could be wrong there. I'm almost positive Nakamura's a southpaw though. And he's a good striker. Again, really hard to gauge just how good because the competition is really low level. I think most of his opponents are like over the age of 36 or 35. One of them was like 40. One of them was like 39. And then he has like a 27 and 26-year-old mixed in there. But mostly the competition has been pretty poor, but the striking looks good. He's clean. He's technical. He times things well. He mixes it up. He's got a lot of weapons. He's got good kicks. Just overall a good striker, and he seems to have a lot of power. At the end of the day, the way with how they match up, I do think Park is the clear side in terms of who should be the favorite, who's going to win, who am I picking. I'm going to pick Park because I think the striking is competitive. I think that he's live to get his own knockout. He's live to get his own finish. I think he can get a submission. He's going to have the grappling upside. So for all those reasons, competition, cardio, more well-rounded, the grappling, I think Park's the rightful favorite. And I did, when I was making up my line, I think I said like minus 230 for him. I think it was like 70%, something like that. I think that would have been about accurate. The line is wider than I thought. Well, I kind of knew that it would be wider. That was just what I thought it should be, not what I thought it would be. The line is minus 360 Park, plus 285 Nakamura. I think that's a little wide, honestly, because, yeah, Nakamura could possibly be out-grappled here. Nakamura could gas, but I could also see Nakamura knocking him out. I don't think that would be a crazy result. So from a betting perspective, this is definitely dog or pass at this line. I don't have interest in Park at this chalk. He is a favorite to win the tournament. I know that. A lot of people like him, and I like him too. I think he's a great prospect, but I just think the line's a little bit wide considering Nakamura, to me, he seems like a good striker, an explosive, powerful striker. He's also young, so he can also be improving, and I don't like Park's defense a lot, and I do think he can be hurt. So dog or pass, but I will pick Park to get it done, and we'll go with submission in round number 3 when Nakamura is tired. Or how about let's go 2. All right, next up, we've got Shuai Yin versus Kai Yoshida. Yin, he's 17-5-0, 27 years old, 5'7" with a 65.5-inch reach. Yoshida, 6'1-0, 25 years old. So he's going to be 2 years younger. He's going to be 2 inches taller. And this is an interesting fight. Yoshida fighting not the highest level of competition. This guy's pretty good, the guy who submitted him. It was a really weird position, though. And then this fight was horrible. Yuki Ueda. Ueda literally just like ran around to his back and just dragged him down and just took his back. It was a terrible look. Overall, like this Yoshida, he seems kind of fragile to me. He's like tall and lanky, but like for 5'9" a flyweight, that's pretty big, but he's just very thin. Seems really hittable. Chin is up there. Striking seems fine. Like when he's in a flow, when he gets going, like he looks pretty good, honestly, like decent with the hands. The kicks are like, I would say, his better weapon. The kicks are pretty solid. He's got a decent jab, decent long range weapons, but first off, he keeps his hands low. Second off, sometimes the output is a hit or miss, and just like he doesn't look all that good. And he's just very hittable. And then the grappling looks horrible. When it is tested, it does not look very good. Takedown defense does not look very good. Doesn't seem to know what to do in a lot of these positions. And Yin, like, he's not the best ever. He's a little small. I don't even think he's 5'7", to be perfectly honest. He did fight Sahoda on last year's Road to UFC tournament. And like he did decent. They went to split. I don't know if he deserved the split, but Sahota was also a really big guy, a good striker. And Yin was able to get some takedowns there. He's got pretty good entries. The control's not the best, but he does decent work with the takedowns, decent ground and pound, and he can mix it in. And his striking's pretty good too. I would say he's primarily a boxer in terms of striking, not as many kicks as Yoshida, but the hands are pretty good. He is hittable. I don't love that. I do think he can be hurt, but overall, he seems pretty durable. He's definitely the more well-rounded of the two. I think he could get a knockout as well. I think that his striking, is probably on par with Yoshida. Yoshida maybe seems a little bit cleaner, but again, he also needs his range, and those hands are down, and I could just see Yin just blasting in and knocking him out or landing big shots and winning moments and minutes on the feet. And then if he doesn't like how it's going on the feet, I'm pretty confident that he can get the grappling going because he's a relatively competent grappler, and Yoshida is just not. Yoshida looks horrible to me. So it's possible that Yoshida at 25 is better than the tape shows. It's possible, with the frame and maybe the striking's better than it seems, and maybe his grappling's gotten better, but it's a lot of maybes from what I see on the tape that I have available. I don't like his game. I just think that Yin can have success on the feet. I think Yin can definitely have success in the grappling, and I think Yin should be able to get it done here. I don't know what method. I feel like he can do any of them, really. What's Tapology say? Because Tapology is usually wrong. But I kind of agree. I also lean towards decision. We'll go with Yin decision. All right, now the main event. I really like the main event. Here we got Baergeng Jieleyisi versus Sebastian Szalay. Jieleyisi, he's 19-6-0, 29 years old, 5'9" with a 70.5-inch reach. Szalay, he's 8-1-0. He's going to be, I think he's 31. For his height, I'm pretty sure he's 5'7", and for his reach, let me see if UFC Stats has it. For his reach, they have 66 inches, so he's given up almost 4 inches in reach. He's given up 2 inches in height, and he's 2 years older. So this is a tricky fight for me. Jieleyisi, if you guys recognize him, that's because he fought on the road to UFC last season. He fought against Su Young-yu in the finale. Su Young-yu, he's the guy who fought AJ Cunningham recently and got that dominant win over AJ Cunningham, so nothing crazy, but that's the right one, right? Yeah. So like Jieleyisi, he's pretty good. He's young. He's training at the PI. And like he's got a pretty big frame. I know he's moving up to featherweight for this fight, and I think he's taking this on short notice too. But I'm not super worried because he's still the bigger guy. I thought he had a pretty big frame for bantamweight, so I'm fine with him going to featherweight for this one. And he's young, so I don't really see the move up being a huge problem, and I don't see the cardio being a big problem either because he's got pretty good cardio. He's a grinder. He's a good grappler. I would say he's mostly a grappler. He's had a lot of fights in the road to UFC, like the Su Young-yu fight and the Nakanishi fight, and the Kamikubo fight, where he kind of had to be the counter grappler and defend the takedowns and strike. But his own grappling is pretty good, and I would say that he's a better grappler than he is a striker. His striking is fine. It's still a major work in progress. He's got decent boxing, not many kicks. Output's not the best. Doesn't seem to have a ton of power, but he can brawl. He's a decent brawler. But definitely, I wouldn't call him a striker. I would call him a grappler. His wrestling is solid. Control isn't the best, but he's got decent control. He's got a pretty good back take. Seen him do that. Decent submissions. And yeah, and he's got the cardio to do it. He can chain wrestle. He can keep going for takedowns even if you get back up. And then with Sebastian here, he's coming in from, I believe he's been fighting at Eternal his entire career. I don't remember off the top of my head whether he was champion or not, but he's good. I think he was champion, but he either way, he's a good fighter. He's a striker, so I would say this fight's relatively binary. There's a decent amount of tape of his takedown defense, but again, those guys aren't the greatest grapplers in the world, but they're also pretty good. So I can get a decent idea. He seems to do the right things, fighting the hands. He's looking for the underhooks. Hips look pretty good, but he can be taken down. And he also gives up his back when he's trying to get back up. I noticed that multiple times on his tape in multiple fights. So I don't love that. But on the feet, I really like his striking. He's a great boxer. He's kind of a brawler. He will go to the body really well. His output is very good. He's constantly throwing stuff out there. And he's definitely the better striker out of the two of them. I think he's going to be cleaner. The combinations are really nice. He's probably a lot more live for a knockout than Jieleyisi is. So it really comes down to who can get their aspect of the game going. And because of that, I feel like it's a pretty close fight. I felt like Jieleyisi probably should be the favorite because he's the younger guy, because he's the one who's returning now for the third time. So he's got the experience, at least under the Road to UFC banner, and he has the grappling upside. So for those reasons, I felt like he should be the favorite. I don't know how it opened up. Actually, I could possibly see now. So it says that it opened up at plus 210 Jieleyisi. Then it crashed down to minus 165. And now it's back up all the way to plus 155. We actually haven't been going over the lines too much. We can do that before we hop out. We kind of touched on them, but yeah, I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong, and it kind of sucks because I rather bet on Sebastian, but I would have needed him as the underdog because I like his brawling style. I really like the striking, and the takedown defense seems competent enough. But I don't think that he should be the favorite because of the grappling upside, because of the experience edge for Jieleyisi, both under the Road to UFC banner and just in general. I mean, he's got 24 fights. 25 fights at 29 years old. That's a lot of fights to have. Whereas Sebastian, he's 31 and he's only got 9. So I just don't feel like Sebastian should be the favorite. But I wanted to bet on him because I like the striking. You know, striking over damage over control is what we're told the judges favor these days. So I wanted to get behind him, but I would have needed a better line. I would have needed him to be the underdog. Then I'd have interest. Now my hand's almost forced because I'm a numbers guy. I bet numbers. And if I'm picking Jieleyisi straight up, if I'm saying on my notes that he should probably be around 60%, maybe 55, then I should probably be betting him for a unit here. So I'm going to be waiting out the line. I'm going to see what happens tomorrow because the fights are on Thursday. So tomorrow is probably my last time to make a move. I'm going to see what's happening with the line. And depending on what happens, I'll possibly get involved. If I do, like I said, all my bets, my notes, my breakdowns, that's going to be in my Discord. You get access to the premium section. Sorry. Been a long day. You get access to the premium section through my Dub Club. Links in the description of this video. It's $10, but use the promo code Couch Warrior Pod, and that'll get you 20% off for your first month, and you can get kind of a feel for it. I already have notes up for every single fight on this card, all 5 of them, and so far, like I said, no bets. Don't love these odds. I think most of them are about accurate. So I'll probably be passing, but we'll see with the main event. My hand might be forced, but I will be picking Jieleyisi. I just think that with the grappling, with the wrestling, you kind of have to favor him. And I kind of feel like a submission is live for him too, with the way that Szalay gives up his back. But Szalay's a dog. I really like his kind of style. I like fighters like him. So if you got him at plus money, you did your job. Limits are kind of low, but it is what it is. So yeah, that's where I'm at. We'll pick Jieleyisi. And it's dog or pass, and he's the dog. So probably going to have to get to a play there. And yeah, that's it, guys. That's Road to UFC 1. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll go over the picks one more time, and then we'll get out of here. We're going with Xiaocan, Feng, Batbayar, Park, Yin, and Jieleyisi. And that's it, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in, and good luck if you make any bets.